What's up, guys? Welcome to another Hearthstone guide, and in this guide we're going to be covering the Warrior. The Warrior is by far one of my favorite classes in Hearthstone. I played Warrior decks for a really long time, really enjoyed them, and I'm going to start off by introducing Akky and Cani. What's up, guys?
What's up, man? What's up?
Not much. And guys, we're going to dive right into this because we've got a lot to cover on this one. I'm going to go over the hero power and the legendary like always. Now, the legendary is Grommash Hellscream. He's a charge of 4/9 for 8 mana cost, but the cool thing about him is when he enrages, it's +6 attack. Now that doesn't stack 6 attack, it's just +6 attack. So understand how that works. The good news is he has a charge and he has a ton of life, so he can become very powerful very quickly if you can protect him. That's really the trick. Going into the hero power though, the hero power is you get to put 2 armor onto your character. It does not heal them, but it's technically effective health that you have to go through. And you can do that for 2 mana. You can always put 2 more armor up at all times. And that kind of synergizes very well with the way that the class is currently played. As we go into it with ways that your class works with armor and just with different things that you can do. So we're going to turn over to Akky. Akky, go into some of the cool stuff and the strengths of the Warrior deck.
Cool. Yeah, so just first off, I don't play a lot of Warrior at all. So I'm sort of just going to keep this brief because my knowledge is literally I got my Warrior to level 10 and I haven't touched him since. So what they are known for though, however, is their sort of big emphasis on armor and synergizing well with armor, which is effectively a heal when you think about it. It's health, okay? It's effective HP. So they have things like the hero power, for example, gives you 2 armor. Things like shield block, which is amazing. It gives you 5 armor, plus you get to draw a card. So I think that's a really cool mechanic. And the other thing they're also known for is their charge mechanic, whether you do it via such as a card as the Warsong Commander or the spell itself, charge, which, funny enough, both of those got changed. So I'll let Kenny sort of cover that in the weaknesses and nerfs section. But other than that, man, that's pretty much as far as I know when it comes to
well,
work.
and I can take over with some of the
Sure.
strengths here. Like Akky was touching on, we'll go over the nerfs and the weaknesses in just a minute. But still, the Warriors are extremely strong. And what we've seen since some of the nerfs to things like charge and whatnot is we've seen things like Frothing Berserkers are still a very strong card. On turn 3 to have 4 health because of the fact that things like Frostbolt won't kill them, things like Wrath from Druids won't kill them. There's really not much that can be done early game to a Frothing Berserker if you play your cards right. And they can become very overpowered very quickly. Things like Commanding Shout, to where your enemies can't die this turn, and you get a free card out of it.
Your friendly minions, you mean?
Yeah, your friendly minions can't die, so you can pretty much effectively attack anything. And what would normally, if you were going to do a 2-for-1, well, now it's you still have 2 minions. Now, granted, they will probably be at 1 health, but they can't be reduced below that, which means they still pose a threat, which is a very strong card for 2 mana. Things like Slam, you get to possible card draw there. Slam has been introduced now in almost the Spell Warrior, I want to call it, strength deck. And what I've seen with that is, if you've seen Crypt play it, he's got this crazy deck that uses Shield Slam, okay, because it deals 1 damage to a minion for each armor you have. So again, like we were talking about with that synergy, you can really control a board very well with your armor. And then things like weapons, things like being able to interrage and execute are very helpful, and we'll get into that in decks in a minute. But I wanted to cover some of the other strengths that are really powerful, especially early game. Cleave, again, Cleave has so many great uses and can be really powerful, especially early game. If you're playing a rush deck or anything else, I mean, there's really nothing that's going to survive in an early game if they have 2 minions out. 2 damage to each of them is probably going to take care of them. So those are kind of some of the benefits of it. Again, we'll cover the changes in just a minute. But Gore Howl, being their legendary weapon, you can do 7 damage to the face of the hero, or every time you attack, it drops down 1 more. So if you attacked a minion, it would then effectively be a 6/1 weapon. Same thing with Arcanite Reaper. You just have a 5/2 weapon for 5. Very, very powerful weapon. Really good for board control. Remember, you take all that damage to your face, but with things like armor, that's kind of the idea of offsetting it. And then Brawl. I've seen Brawl used as a really huge strength, and I'll cover some of the cooler things I've seen with Brawl as well later on in the video. But let's get right into weaknesses and cover some of these nerfs that we were talking about with Cani. Cani, you want to dive into that for us?
Yeah, a couple of the most recent changes to the Warrior deck pose, I wouldn't say overwhelming weaknesses, but definitely very strong weaknesses towards the way that the Warrior used to be played. Now, these methods are no longer viable, but you used to be able to, throw a couple of weapons in your deck and a couple of other spells to help keep board control, and with taking all that damage to the face, as soon as you hit 10 health, you'd be able to drop 2 Molten Giants on your next turn for free, because they're reduced by 1 cost for every damage that you've taken. And then you would be able to use a Warsong Commander for 3 cost that would grant them charge. So that's 8 damage, and then another 8 from the second one. And you'd be able to drop 2 Youthful Brewmasters for 3, I think it's 2 or 3 each, I can't quite remember. But return, 2 costs, there we go. So return those 2 Giants to your hand, play them again for 0 because you're still at 10 health, and deal another 16 damage. And if the enemy player didn't have a taunt down, you would deal 32 damage in a turn and end the game.
Right, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Aside from an ice block or ice barrier or other armor on another warrior. And I mean, 32 damage in a turn is just obscene. And I mean, they also had an Alexstrasza Gorehowl one-shot kind of, 2-turn kill, where on turn 7, if you've got a Gorehowl, you play the Gorehowl and you don't use it, and then the next turn, turn 8, you drop Alexstrasza, change the opponent's health to 15, grant it charge, which is now a 3 cost, used to be free, grant Alexstrasza charge and just go to the face, and then you would win the game after attacking with Gorehowl for the last 7 damage.
Yep.
But the charge card was changed to be 3 cost, up from free, which is a massive change. It also grants 2 attack to kind of offset that, but it's not quite as valuable as it used to be.
And the reason that they made it a 3 cost, and let me go into that real quick, is because if they made it a 2 cost, it would still have the Alexstrasza deck would still be viable. They had to make it a 3 cost so that you can't possibly play Alexstrasza and charge together. That was the reason that they changed it to 3. And honestly, that deck is the reason that this card got nerfed. There is not another reason that this deck got nerfed besides that. And the same thing with the first deck that Cani was talking about. That is why the Warsong Commander card got changed. As you see now, it reads, whenever you summon a minion with 3 or less attack, give it charge. It used to be, whenever you summon a minion, give it charge, which is why you had that 32 damage one-shot. So the Warrior received a couple of, I think, very, very crucial nerfs. But again, it makes it more fair because it was broken. It really was. The way that you could play the decks was just completely broken. You had to almost work your way around those 2 decks when you were playing them. Like, you wouldn't let them get to 10 health unless you could one-shot them, or you weren't, you know what I mean? Or you had to try to Zerg them down before turn 8. And the problem is you had to figure out which one of those 2 decks you were playing against midway through playing against them, because you didn't know which one it was. So you didn't know whether you should be going balls to the wall or holding back. And it just led to... It was just too overpowered if you got the cards you needed, and it wasn't that hard to get them, because you would just pretty much, double up on everything. I mean, Alexstrasza took a little bit, but you would just, load up on armor and board control, and just that would be your only real minions. I mean, you just want card draw, board control, and that was it. I mean, you would just wait for that one-shot macro, and you were just ridiculous. But I do want to point out a really cool combo that I saw on a live stream a couple weeks ago is Brawl with Sylvanas. Because it destroys all the minions except 1. So, best case scenario is you get your Sylvanas back. Worst case scenario is you get one of their minions. So it's a pretty overpowered combo. I think that's why they increased the
after,
cost. That's why they increased the cost to 6.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, after Brawl, there's only one minion left too, so
right.
you're gonna be taking it regardless.
Right. That was why they changed the cost of. And let's see if I can pull Sylvanas up real quick.
Up to 6.
Yeah, that's why they moved her up to 6. Let me grab her real quick.
You know, I never even thought about that. That's
you take control of random enemy. So, well, I saw Crip won every game with it. I mean, I saw Crip just get nasty, and somebody he was using the Alexstrasza deck with Sylvanas Brawl, and you know they would get to turn 6 or 7, whatever, didn't matter. I mean, it was insane. Like what he was doing was just disgusting. Because he'd put Sylvanas down, and if it lived, he would just brawl, and if because you know they'd be trying to Zerg him down. So they wouldn't be going for the Sylvanas because they're trying to get him down before turn 8, and he would just laugh, and then the next turn, it was disgusting. He would just laugh and then brawl, and then he would be in complete board control going into turn 8. I mean, it was disgusting. It was disgusting.
Crazy.
But yeah, guys. So that's really some of the cool stuff that you can do with warriors. They are a really, really fun deck to play. Again, I've played quite a bit of warrior since the nerf. I haven't actually messed with it a whole lot due to the fact that the way that my deck was set up, you know, kind of got destroyed with the nerfs to charge and Warsong Commander. So you'll see a lot of different warrior decks. No one's really there's not really a whole lot of really, really amazing ones right now that people have really come up with yet. Give it a couple days, and I'm sure there'll be, you know, disgusting ones popping up here and there. Just like there always is, but you know, cards like Inner Rage, they have plenty of weapons to choose from, plenty of good spells to choose from. The way that their armor synergizes with their cards, it's just an overall, it's a well-made class. It really is, and you can have, yeah. I mean, you can have a lot of fun with this class. There's so many different fun combos that you can have. So don't let the small nerfs to things like Charge and Warsong Commander, don't let those deter you from playing the class if it's something that you've really liked. You can still make really fun decks with this. So is there anything else from you guys before we take off on this one?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly clarify with the Warsong Commander change, because there's probably some confusion over it. The way that it works is it's when you summon the card, as long as it's under 3 attack or less, it can attack, right? It has charge. So, for example, if you play, what's a good example? The Raging Worgen. Right? So if you put the Raging Worgen down, it comes to the field as a 3/3, right? And then you enrage it for free, and it becomes a 4. What is that? A 4/2 with Wind Fury. It still has the charge, right? Because it takes effect from when it's played onto the field, not if it goes above 3 or anything like that. So I just wanted to clarify that real quick. So.
Yeah, because that's one of the more viable ways to play Warrior right now, is the Raging Worgens are still really good. And in regards to that, guys, I probably should have touched on this a little bit, but a lot of these cards deal with the Enrage mechanic. You know, one of their minions, the Cruel Taskmaster, is literally designed to do that. You know, he deals 1 damage and gives it 2 attack. So, I mean, you can literally, you're buffing these cards, and especially if they have an Enrage, things like Rampage as well. Anything like that, you can really make some extremely powerful minions very, very quickly for very low cost. The trick is really getting there. And again, that's why you saw the decks that we discussed kind of come up, is those just insane one-shot decks which had such board control, because you could still put Raging Worgens and Cruel Taskmasters and Inner Rages into your deck and still have room for those one-shot cards, which was insane. And that's why, obviously, some of the cards got nerfed. But anything else from you, Cani, before we go?
I think that was it, man.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I know this one was a little bit longer, but like I said, there was a lot to cover. And we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.